Hey everyone! Welcome to another new episode of Wives Wind Down. Pew, 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 pew. Yes, it is that time. It's Wednesday. It's time to wind down. Grab your glasses, whether you're drinking water, wine, whatever's your fancy. Like, come on and join us. Come on in and let's have some fun and some wonderful girl talk. Yes, I see y'all coming in. Hey y'all, yes. I'm so excited about tonight. Thank you all for those of you all. I see you, Lori. Yes. I'm going to add you on in just a second. I'm so excited to be back with you all. It's been a few weeks, but that's okay because, the Lord works everything out. But welcome to Wise Wind Down. I am your host, Shonda Brown White, and I'm so excited that you are here. I have been married for 13 years now. Whoop, whoop. We just celebrated on Monday, 13 years. Whoop, whoop. So thank the Lord for that, because it's been a blessing. But I remember when I first got married, I would feel kind of like alone sometimes, or kind of even intimidated by like the title wife and like being married. It was like, what does that mean? And like, we would have like little spats or little heated fellowships, as my sister Renita likes to say. And I would just be like, oh my gosh, I feel so alone. Like, oh my gosh, is this normal? And then when I would talk to other wives and other women, they were like, oh yeah, girl, it's just growing pains, or don't worry, you'll be fine. I'm like, well, why didn't anybody tell me this before I got married? So I wanted to create that safe space and that atmosphere where we could just pull back the curtains and really talk about like, what does it take to have a healthy, happy relationship? Because we want healthy relationships, okay? And so I wanted to really talk about that and just like have fun with it, but also keep it real and keep it honest about what it really takes to stay married and to be happily married. So each episode, I'm so thankful for every guest that we have on. And tonight is no exception. Y'all know my day ones. Y'all been rocking with me for so long. If this is your first time, welcome. But you are in for a treat tonight. And we're going to talk about some good, delicious things tonight. So without further ado, let me welcome on our special. Hey, y'all. I see y'all in the chat already. Yes, I have missed y'all so much. Thank y'all for rocking with me, but I've missed y'all.
Hey girl, how are you?
Hey girl, hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you sound perfect.
Okay, good. Okay. Hey girl.
Yes, and you look gorgeous. Skin is popping.
Look, I had to do a little something by to represent. You are too. I see you.
Thank you. Your skin is just glowing. Yes, I love a good lip. What's your favorite makeup? Like you have to have.
Oh, honey, don't. That's a whole nother conversation. I've got every line of makeup ever, from NARS to Bobbi Brown to MAC to Estee Lauder. That's another conversation. We're not gonna go there. Yes.
We'll save that for Wives Wind Down with makeup.
Yes, please do. Yes.
Well, before we get into it, and Kiki, because I cannot wait for you to share your story and for us to talk, I want to formally introduce you to the people, just in case they don't know who you are. But okay. Y'all gonna know tonight. Y'all gonna learn tonight. So, Lori Flowers is a radio executive married to OJ Flowers, who is starting seminary at Columbia Theological Seminary. They've been married for 6 years and they live in the Atlanta area. ATL, shawty. These two foodies enjoy exploring new eating spots in the area, traveling and making memories. So y'all give it up, chap it up in the clap, chap it up in the clap, clap it up in the chat for Lori Flowers.
Why, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for having me too. Here.
Yes, I know you're busy. I know you have a lot of things going on. So I thank you for being here tonight and for just sacrificing your time. It's just a blessing and an honor. So thank you. And I wanted to first start off just by asking you, how are you doing? How have you been during like the pandemic and everything that's going on? How's life been for you?
You know what? That's a great question. I think we need to ask more people that. It's been different, but it's been welcome change, I guess. Learning more about myself, learning more about how to maneuver and get around with, not a lot of things, but because, we would be out everywhere buying up everything. And, it's just a change and appreciation for people who are in your lives and just gratefulness because so many people are going through a lot. And so you just have to stop and think it's not the best situation, but thank God where we are now, So, yeah.
That's a word right there.
It's been real. It's been real.
Oh gosh. Oh my goodness. You have said a word already. Like you said, it's all about gratitude and gratefulness. Cause it's like, yes, it slowed us down, and for some people it's been quite hectic, but for those of us who we were able to slow down and still keep our jobs or still working, like,
there you go.
Gratitude is the only word. It's the best word for it.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. But
wow.
no, everything has been just, you know, just moving forward, and with this, as you say, new way of life, and just figuring things out as you go, you know?
Yeah, it's funny how everybody was like, oh, I can't wait till we go back to normal. I'm like, we're not, there's no going back.
No,
we have to
this
just
is keep going, keep moving, because it's not going back to what it used to. It's a lot of changes, and we just have to adjust, you know? Yeah.
100%. Now, I know we talked about moving forward, and we were going to get there in a second, but I do want to go back just a little bit in terms of your love story. So, as I understand it, as I have learned, you and your husband met in college, but it was the wonderful, great Facebook that actually connected you all some years later. So tell the people about how this happened.
Okay, so let me give you the Cliff Notes version, because we could go on, but in a nutshell, yes, I knew my husband when I was in college. I was in graduate school. He was an undergrad. I always tell that part. So I'm a little older. And we were friends. And then fast forward, like, what, 20 some years later, thanks to Facebook, I was living in Atlanta downtown, and he posted, just picked up some cupcakes from 𝘵𝘃, which is Buckhead or Peachtree Road. For those who live in Atlanta, it's like right near downtown. And I sent him a DM, and I was like, oh, so you're in my neighborhood. And we started talking back and forth. Yeah, I'm here. You know, we should hook up. We should hang out. And next thing you know, I had a work event. And again, I didn't know where we were going with this, but the work event was the Atlanta Football Classic at the time, because don't really do those anymore.
Right.
And we hung out that day, and it was amazing. We had a great time. And it's funny because one thing I will say that he said about me that day, he was like, you're different than the other girls. And from there, it's just history. We hung out ever since then. The next day we had a date at Yard House, and the rest is history, you know?
Listen, I know all too well about you're different. Like, that sounds awfully familiar.
Yeah. It's something special about you. You're different. And I took that as, okay, that was great. And I'm happy at the time I met him, that was that right timing. Because if it had been years before, he probably wouldn't have said, he'd been like, yeah, you're just like everybody else. So let's just get down to that, okay?
What now, when you say like everybody else, what do you mean? Elaborate. What do you can tell what you feel comfortable with, but what you mean like everybody else?
Not really offering anything else up. Nothing, but just fun. Just okay. But just I had more substance. I had I was more grounded in my thought process. I was not thirsty to be married.
Well,
because the younger me, and I'm, was a little more thirsty. Like, hey, I'd be a good wife. And men don't like that. They run. If you're not the right one, I should say. If you're not the right one and you thirsting all over, because I know there was some thirst, and yeah, I admit it. So wasn't no thirst. We hung out, it was fun, and I think that he was probably like, okay. Because I was cool. I was grounded. I was like, yeah, cool.
We have so much in common. Who knew? I'm like, oh, that sounds
so you can relate to that.
Yeah, 100%. I tell people all the time, and I wrote about it. It's like, once I stopped obsessing about love, it's like when it happened. Because I was new to Atlanta, so I was ready. I was like, I'm at, not like too much, but I was like, I'm ready to, and then it was like, but the old me, like you said, I was thirsty for marriage. Like I was just like, I want a year.
Pick me.
Yeah.
I'm a wife. You should look at me, girl. If you ain't the one, you're not the one. And be fine with that. If you're not the one, that's fine. Matter of fact, that's good, because there's somebody else for him. Don't clog up his time and he clogging up yours. Y'all just go your separate ways. Don't do it. Wasting time. Time is wasted by sitting up there hoping he picks you. He didn't pick you. That's cool. Keep it pushing. So that's the young, go.
Come on,
man knows what he wants. Men know what they want. You don't have to do that for them. They know what they want. And I learned, my husband he knew what he wanted. It was very clear. And no one else before had been clear like that. So.
Listen. We're just getting started and you're already pouring out a whole word. Let me tell you.
You
But
know.
you're right. Everything you said, you're right. Like, that was probably one of the biggest lessons I learned, was that, like, if a man wants to be with you, he'll be with you, point blank, period. Like, there's no indecision. It's just, it is what it is. And like you said, they know what they want. So if he wants just a good time, then that's what he's going to be looking for. If he wants marriage, then he's going to act like he wants marriage. So
that right there, what you just said, if anybody has any question, what you just said is very true. If he wants marriage and he's there and you're the one, he'll make it clear, and you won't have to wonder. You won't have to say, I think he's the one, but let me go and try to cook some more dinner, or let me see if I can take him out on some dates and he can see how great I am. You don't have to do all that for the one that you're supposed to be with.
Preach, Lord. Preach.
Come on.
Yes. You better
to
tell him today. Now, another part of your story that I loved is that your last name is Flowers, which is beautiful in itself. But even the story behind you having the last name Flowers and your hashtag, tell the people about that and how, like, it means a little bit more than just like, oh, that was my husband's last name.
Yeah, you know what? And I love telling that part of the story because I felt so special. So I'm the girl. I love flowers. I love to receive them. I used to love when they would come to the office and, you know, everybody would say, look, you got flowers. So one time we were out somewhere and I said, I love flowers. And he stopped, he looked at me and he said, what if I gave you flowers for life? Okay. I said, you mean like, what do you mean? Like, you're going to give me flowers each, you know, every day? You know, I kind of knew. He said, what if I gave you flowers for life? My last name. And so he went on, obviously, to propose. And then our hashtag was Flowers for Life. And that it just means the symbolism of his taking his last name for life and flowers. So, yeah, it was really special when he told me that. And I remember I just was like, seriously, me? You know, it was really special.
That is so sweet. And I see y'all in the chat. I love it. Somebody said earlier, point blank, period. Hey, sis, that part. And somebody just said everything depends on honesty and being real with what each person brings and what each person expects. Exactly. And Sid Digital said, I'm not crying, you are. I know,
hey,
sis.
Sid.
Let those tears out, because that's just the sweetest thing. I'm like, oh.
It was so sweet. And that's why, to me, it was so worth the wait. It was worth the wait. It really was. And, you know, I look back and I wondered, why didn't I get married sooner? Why wasn't I in my 20s when I got married? Because that was the American dream. That's what I thought was going to happen. I was, you know, groomed, I should say, to get married then. You know, you graduated from college. You do this. I'm in the cotillion. I'm doing this. And, you know, all these things that you do. And you just think, I'm a wife. Well, no, it was God's timing. It's not our timing.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's exactly where I wanted to shift. Because I noticed this sprinkled a lot throughout your page. And I was like, ooh, I can't wait to dig into this in terms of like worth the wait, which we've heard a lot of times. And the wait can mean different things to different people. But for you specifically, what did the wait look like? And what would you say you learned the most during your waiting period? But first, like, what was that waiting season like for you?
I'll be honest. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. The waiting season for me was ugly early on, until I got to the point of, okay, so starting the waiting season was very, it was a struggle, because you want things in a certain time. And when I'm thinking my time would come at 25, 26, 27, 28. I feel like I'm in an auction, 29, 30, you know, and they're not coming. And you're like, you're getting older and older, and society and the world tells you you're supposed to be married at this time. And then after that, you have a child. And then after that, you have this house and this. And my life was not looking like that. It wasn't adding up. And so the wait for me was realizing all of that, going through the ugly cries when I look at everybody else getting married around me, going through the sitting with my mom and nobody wants me. Oh my God. And then I had an awakening. And I don't know what that was, but I just remember there was like a peace that came over me. I did a lot of praying, a lot of journaling, spending time with some good girlfriends in the same situation as myself. Jen Spears, who's actually on here, Jen and I spent a lot of time.
She's a Wives Wind Down alum. We love
she
you,
is.
Jennifer.
And she kept like just talking with her and spending time with her was really everything to me. And just grounding myself in the word. And getting right in my head, because once you get all of that right, your heart changes. I had a heart change, and I realized that, okay, you have to come to a point where, what if you don't get married? Are you okay with that? What if, you know, he don't come along, or you're 60 years old, whatever. You just get to a point where you feel good about where you are and you accept it. And I was at that point, which is why I know that when we reconnected, he felt that. I didn't have the thirst dripping on him of, yeah, let's get married. The thirst was not, it was quenched with the word. Let's be clear on that. That didn't happen overnight though. Because, you know, sitting at home, you know, you just be like, okay, I'm sit at home, read my Bible. That's cool, but you got to get to the point of really wanting to get in that word and just really be grounding yourself there, you know? And so that waiting period was just really refinement for myself, my mind, and my heart.
Refinement. I love that word, refinement. Oh, I feel like I'm like, is this my story or Lori's story?
That's
like,
what I'm saying. You get it, you know.
Someone asked earlier, and I don't, they asked Bentley, Bailey, and Sasha, hey girl, hey. I want to know how they incorporated celibacy into the marriage. She must really know you very well, Lori, or she follows you. So, you know, that's on y'all. Great question. I'm like, because, you know, again, when we talk about the wait, it means different things to different people. Some people had to wait a long time till their loved one came. And then some of us decided we was going to wait to have sex, you know, until we got married, myself included. But, you know, if you feel comfortable sharing, that's totally fine. But what was that like for you guys? How did you all get to that decision?
And that was one of the conversations that we had when we decided to, he was going to court me. So at Yard House, we had a deep conversation, and he was like, I'm interested in courting you. I want to go further. And from there, we're literally sitting there talking and just laid everything out on the table. I don't, you know, I'm celibate. We're not doing anything. Are you fine with that? He said, okay. And to me, that with no hesitation, because it wasn't like well, you know, I'll wait for a month, but that's about it. He had no hesitation at all. And so that was it was very clear to me that he was serious, you know, and so that was what we decided to do until we got married. Now, we'll say this, the wedding date, when we set that, I set it for like September of 2015. And 2016, and he was like, no, it needs to be May. So he was like,
he like, can we compromise?
Yeah. So that was, you know, sure, that's fine. Yeah. But to answer that question, it's just he was on board without a question. It wasn't even like a hesitation.
Because he knew like the legacy, and he knew the long-term benefits. Like, sometimes people, because sometimes we get caught up in the short term and think, well, he's not going to want to. It's like he clearly could see the vision for you and him together. And that's like Jennifer said, the right man will honor your standards. He sure will.
He will. That's a word.
I'm a witness. There. You're a witness.
The right man will honor your standards. Yeah. If you don't get anything out of this, get that. The right man will honor your standards. You don't have to negotiate.
You sure don't.
He accepts them.
I spent enough time negotiating. Half the time I didn't even negotiate. It was really like, whatever. I was that, you know, coming to me, whatever did you like? That was the old me. And then I was like, wait a minute. I have standards. I have expectations.
Oh, you're right. Yes. Oh my gosh. Whatever you like.
I know. Whatever it is you like. Listen, that was me, but not anymore.
And you got 13 years. 13 years, girl. Congratulations.
Listen, thank you so much. I can't even believe it. Sometimes we were talking about that. Just like some days it feels like it was yesterday, and some days we feel like seasoned vets, but we still like love each other and have fun, and like we like each other, you know?
Imagine that. You have fun with each other. You laugh and it's fun. Yeah.
Because some people didn't make it out this pandemic now, I'm going to be honest.
I know. I've heard a lot. Yeah, it's a struggle, but
it's a struggle.
Yeah.
One of the things that I loved that you wrote on one of your posts, you said, let God write your love story. Hallelujah. That'll preach itself. And I thought that was very encouraging, especially for someone who may be in their waiting season right now, and they just got into one, or they just feel like, you know, like you said, the wait can be a struggle sometimes. So what would you say, and feel free to elaborate on that as well in terms of let God write your love story, but what else would you say to encourage someone who is in that waiting season and just, they can't see, they're like, I want it for my life, but I don't know if it's going to happen?
I think when you let God write your love story, you give him the pen, literally. I think a lot of times we keep the pen in our hand, and I had the pen because I wrote out everything it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like this, and I need this, and he's supposed to have this. And, you know, granted, I did have my standards of what I wanted, you know.
Yes.
I didn't just, I knew what I wanted, but I gave, you know, the pen over and allowed God to orchestrate. So if you think about the orchestration, and when I look back at how we ended up together, I'm like, that's only God, because there's no way. OJ lived in California. I lived in Phoenix. He moved to Atlanta. I moved all over. I moved to Florida, and I moved to DC, and then I'm back in Phoenix. I mean, back in Atlanta. Like, it's just a lot of orchestration, and the timing was just right. So I think when I say give the pen over, like, you have to release everything that you think it's supposed to look like. Yes. Because when you have this vision about it's supposed to look like this, and it may not look like that. My love story, or, you know, the timing looked nothing like what I originally had. You know, God had another plan. And once you realize that, you take your hands off of it. And when I say take your hands off, I'm not saying you sit at home and just wait for somebody to come knocking at your door. You still remain active. You still talk to people, but you can't just take control so much and dismiss someone who may not fit the picture of what you think it's supposed to look like, because it may not look like that. Because again, my love story looked like I'll be married at least by 30. It didn't look like that. So once you let that go and you realize it's greater than that, you still live your life, do the right thing, meet people, but you'll know when the pen is in, when God is writing it, you'll know. I promise you'll know.
How did you know? Was it because when you said earlier you had reached that new, like, mental and emotional state? Is that how you knew?
I think it was a mental and emotional state. And the very first time we hung out and we had we were talking about life, I just felt there was something else. And then that next evening at Yard House, when we talked, I said, oh my gosh, it's OJ. This is him. This is my purpose partner. This is who I'm supposed to be with. Okay. You just know. It was no question of, well, you know, I'll settle. You know, he hates his mama, but I'll settle. Or he he does drugs every night. That's okay though, because he's cute. It was none of that. It was none of that.
Yeah. You didn't feel like
his mother, it was just, oh yeah. When he took me home to meet mom, I was like, oh yeah, this is my family.
Yeah. Lauren relinquished. Hey girl, hey. She said, ooh girl, you said it. You sure did. Woo. I mean, like you said, you'll know. And what I like is that you didn't feel like you had to compromise your standards or anything. I just told a young lady today who was asking for advice, and I was like, listen, one of the things you have to ask yourself is, can I be my true authentic self with this person? And if you can, then that's a really, really good telltale sign. Like, because otherwise you'll try to be something that you're not, or you feel like you have to, like, you know, change your morals or your standards, or don't have any standards at all. Like, well, I guess there's compromise, and then there's like going too far.
That's it. What you just said, that is it. And when the man accepts what, you know, your standards, as Jen mentioned earlier, you'll know. Like, it's so clear. It's crystal clear. And even when we were recording, he opened the door for me. He still to this day opens the door for me, to the point where I stand at the door and I'm like, you know, the car door, you know.
Yes.
So, you know, it's just, you
Eric
know.
gets mad at me if I grab the door. He's like, don't you get that door? And I'm just like,
See?
well, come get the door then. So, because
Yeah.
other people, I feel like they're gonna look at me and think I'm crazy. Like, look at her. And he's like, don't you get that door? I'm like, will you hurry up?
Eric, no, Eric, they make them ladies. They out there, because
Yes.
I didn't think with nobody else out there, honestly. I was like, well, this is it. I don't hit the age and nobody else out here. But God showed me. I was done. I was like, ain't nothing, you know, I'm done. Ask my mother.
Yes, and see, I love the realness, because people need to hear that, because I know someone's tuning in now, someone's going to watch the replay, and they're going to be like, I am she is me. Like, I feel like that, you know, I'm in that season right now where they're waiting and they feel like it's never going to happen. And we can't say if and when that's going to happen for you, because that's all up to God. But we can tell you it happened for us. And we did have those back, because it's easy sometimes too when people see you married, like, oh, well, you got your husband, and you're like, but girl, you don't know my story, honey. You don't know. And I like sharing the stories, like,
no story, the tears, the tears, and and just the feeling of, you know. But again, you know, I got through that and I lived. So I'm just, you know, I'm not saying that life ends at, you know, oh, I got married. That's, no, life is, you make your life, make it full. But it's just wonderful that I have a partner to share it with, because I really wanted that, you know. So
we have a really good question from Confession Consignment. Hey girl, hey. She said the last men I've dated have all been cheaters. How do I overcome issues with trust? I'll let you take that first, Lori, if you want to.
You know what? I mean, I feel like that may be some therapy, because I don't know. You need to talk to someone about that, because trust, if you don't have trust, that's a serious issue. Like, I can't imagine, you know, if you're in your next relationship, you're automatically going to be looking for things just subconsciously. You're going to say, oh, you were gone to the store a little extra longer than you should have. So, I mean, therapy is great, you know, to talk it out with the, they may have better, I don't really know. I don't want to tell the wrong thing or suggest the wrong thing, but, you know, what do you think, Shonda?
I can kind of relate to that in a sense, because that was kind of my story. It was like cheating and lying was just like the thing. Now, after going through therapy, I realize now that, like, what triggers me, because some of that would show up in my marriage. So I would be triggered if my husband said he's going to do something, he didn't do it, or if he would like walk away. Some of that was actually triggered from my upbringing and what I experienced as not having my father there. So I did have to unpack that so that I didn't like project that onto him. But he always tells me, like, I definitely had a wall up when I first got with him. And so I was very guarded, which was understandable, because I was trying to protect my heart. I was trying to protect like what I had been through in the past. What I also realized though too was that two things that kind of always affected and made it worse in the past was, one, my sexual involvement. So it was like, how far did I take things? Because most time, if that was involved, then I felt crushed. The cheating just hurt that much more worse, because it was like I gave something of myself to that person. Exactly. And then the other part of it was like, I also ignored a lot of the red flags. That's not to say I'm putting the blame on myself or even the young lady who asked that question. That's just to say that I had to also like analyze my decisions and really like observe and say, okay, maybe you kind of saw the writing on the wall, but you kind of chose to ignore it. That was my story. So I had to make different decisions with a different type of people. Like, even if that meant I'm going to date a different type of guy, that's ultimately how I had to like overcome those issues. Plus therapy, like you said, is really helpful.
I think talking to someone who doesn't know, they have so many things you can do and activities to work through it. So
yes.
Hope that helps.
But I'm glad that she's acknowledging that, and hopefully that gives you, for the young lady who asked that question, thank you for asking that and for being transparent, and hopefully you can like start on that healing process, because there's a lot of healing. Like you said earlier, that refinement and spending that time with yourself and like even acknowledging that you have trust issues is the first step. And then, like you said, talking to someone that can actually give you some tools to help manage that will really help as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So you are a professional and a businesswoman, and you've been doing your thing. You have mentored a lot of women in the industry, and you even wrote a book called A Seat at the Table, a survival guide for women in business. So I wanted to ask, if you wrote a book similar to that one, that was like, I don't know, a survival guide for women who are married, what would you say would be like some of your major themes or major tips that you would share, especially based on your experience as a wife?
Oh, you're good. Oh, okay. So yeah, this is fun. Okay, so the first tip I would say, a survival. That's hard to say.
I know, right? I struggle.
Right. Is men don't like to be nagged. And I learned in my marriage, if I need something done, I will let him know I need it done, but I don't have to follow up with a reminder to do it. We're to the point now, he knows that if I'm asking, he's already, he knows that it needs to be done. And I think he loves it better if I leave it alone. So that's the first survival guide tip, is to state what you need, give him time to fix it. If it's, take the trash, do whatever. I do have to brag. My husband's good at all that stuff. He's so good at that.
Yes.
Do all that. But that's the first
I love that you've learned that already. Like, yes. I'm like, oh, yeah, you understand. It doesn't take that long to be married to get it. So I'm like, you get it.
You get it. The other thing I will say that I am still learning, and here's the thing, you watch TV, and on TV, all the marriages, if you think about the sitcoms, when the husband comes home, the wife runs to the door, honey, you're home. And they hug and, oh, how was your day? What'd you do? My husband doesn't like that. Sometimes he needs to get a break. And I learned early on, he needed a break to decompress. And it's fine. So I've learned, and every husband's going to be different, but the survival tip is to learn what your husband, what he wants. If he doesn't need all that extra talk when he comes in the house, don't do it. Give him some time. He'll come around. Or if he is talkative, or maybe you're not, communicate to him, hey, I don't want to talk right now. So that's another survival guide tip for marriage. And the other one I would say, be careful with what you see on social media and comparing it to what you have. I think this social media thing is wonderful. And I love to see the couples. I love to see the hugs and the kisses and, look at us and we did this, did that. And if your marriage doesn't look like that, you're automatically like, well, how come I don't have that? And you never give me this, and I don't have a ring and a Cartier bracelet and all this other stuff. Stop comparing what you see on social media and TV. Your marriage is unique to you. Your husband is unique to you. Learn that husband, learn your man, learn his roadmap, and you follow that roadmap and get off the roadmap of everybody else on social media and TV. And that's it.
Bravo. So when's the book dropping?
Look, only if I write it with you, because I know you got some tips.
Listen, I'm still learning. I'm like, sometimes I feel like I'm a fish out of water, because you just learn stuff every single year.
Because you're growing. Yeah, you grow.
Yes, it's the growth for me. It's the evolution. Like, our marriage now compared to 13 years ago, it's so different, but it's like evolved. So, look at them. They clapping it up in the chat too. They like, Somebody said, yes, book collab. Listen, we both authors. We could do this.
We could do that, right? Yeah.
Number 1, men don't like to be nagged. So true. Number 2, learn what he wants. And number 3, be careful with what you say on social media and compare it to your marriage. Like, that part, I just wiped my eye. That part right there, like, and the learning what he wants. And I would even add to that, not even just what he wants, but what you want to, because both people's needs matter. But of course, we were just talking about the wives, but what he wants and what you want, it all goes to love languages. Because like you said, because you are so right about, like, he might not like that whole, hey honey, how you doing? Like, when I first got married, I was putting all this pressure on myself. I need to go cook, I need to clean and have dinner, and he was like, I didn't ask for all that. And I was like, "What? I'm a wife. What am I supposed to do?"
Yes,
And it's like,
that's it though. You
who told
said
you
it,
that?
because I'm a wife. I'm supposed to, and that's growing up. That's what I saw. All the TV shows. Honey, I'm home, and you run at the door with your apron and all that other stuff. But if he doesn't want all that, or you don't have to do that. Your marriage is unique to the couple that's in it. You don't have to do all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Do you feel like there are any marriage myths that you realize like, nah, that's not true for my marriage? Like once you got married, like you heard something all the time and then you got married, it's like, that don't really apply to me.
That's a good question. I feel like there is, and I'm drawing a blank. I feel like there is. I will say though, getting married later in life, I feel like I'm different than when I was in my 20s and 30s. So we're very even keel. Like we're just like, we're so cool. Like, you want to do this? No. And I love what he'll say. He was like, it's no rules today. We don't have to, it's Sunday. We don't have to eat a pot roast. We can go eat Mexican food. Like we just go with it. We don't have to do what everybody says you're supposed to do on a certain day or time. So yeah, but I don't really, that's a great question. I feel like I can't think of that right now.
I think you summed it up to when you said no rules today, and like we don't have to do what people think. Like Sunday dinner doesn't have to be Sunday dinner pot roast with potatoes. Like you can go eat Mexican if you want to. Like that for me sums up all of it, because it's like people will tell you so much of what you should do and what you should be doing, and it's like this is how we rock.
And that's the answer. And as I think that through, I think that goes back to what we've both been saying, is that you have to, whatever your relationship and marriage looks like, that's what it's about, not what society necessarily says, and not what social media says, not what your girlfriend does. Her husband's different than your husband. So, and okay, one thing that people say that your husband can't go shopping with you. Mine, I have to brag, mine will go to Target with me. And I stay an hour and some change in Target. Yes. On top of that, whenever we travel, I have to go to the local Target. And he goes with me. So I think society, they say, a man don't want to do that. Well, mine is very patient. He'll do it.
Yeah, me too. Mine is very patient. Like, he's not going to offer it up, but he also isn't going to mind either. Like, if I'm like, hey, can we stop at Target on the way? He's not going to be like, no, I'm a man. I don't do that. Like.
Right? Yeah. And mine won't rush me, which I love. And sometimes I'm like, I know you're ready. He's like, you're fine. Take your time. He's probably watching the game on his phone. As long as he got his phone and he can watch the college football, whatever, he's good. But he's just right with me. He pushes the cart and I fill it up. And I love that. I don't take that for granted.
I'm like, does my husband have two wives? Because it sounds so familiar.
It's too close, right? It's too close.
Too close. Oh yes. Oh my gosh. Listen. I'm trying to tell you. Sometimes I'll be 100% honest. Sometimes I feel I don't want to use the word guilty, but for lack of a better word, sometimes you feel a little like, dang, my husband really is great. Like, it's, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it, but
y'all's love on your social media. Y'all so cute. Oh my gosh.
But at the same time, it's like, it's not about me or him. It's all glory to God. Cause I'm like, he orchestrated this. Cause if it was up to our flesh, no telling what would be going on. But it's God's divine intervention that allows us to have this beautiful marriage.
That's it right there. You're preaching.
So it's like, why would I not like share? Because that's what marriage is. It's a reflection of God's love. So it's like, why not tell people that without coming off like boastful? Because I know it's not through my power. It's through God's power that we are who we are, so, and that you have a wonderful husband like you do. And that's why I love this platform, so that people can see this and we can normalize like healthy, loving, happy relationships. Because yes, it does take work. And everybody's like, well, what do you guys mean when you say work? And it's like, we just mean it takes work. Like you have to like be invested in the relationship, and you have to like be intentional about it. But it's also worth every moment and worth all of it,
It's worth it. It's worth it. And you get through different hurdles and different seasons of your life and you figure it out together. And that's the part right there. You're like, wow, look, we figured that out. It's fine. And my husband will say, it's going to be okay. And I love that too. It's going to be fine. Yeah. See? Wait a minute.
I'm like, are we sister wives and we don't know it?
I know, right? Maybe they've been talking.
No, it just means that, like you said earlier, there are still men out there who are good men, and the Lord is, you know, they may seem few and far in between, but they are out there.
And you don't have to force any of these. Don't force them. Don't force it. That's all I gotta say. Don't force it. It'll mesh. It's fine. You don't have to force any of that. Don't do it. Oof.
Listen, you have said a word tonight. Okay, now this has been amazing, but of course we have to do our fun rapid round that I love to do, and I'm so glad that you mentioned Target because I actually included a question related to Target.
Ooh, okay.
But this is what I like to call the rapid fire round, and this is where we just take a moment to kind of just to get to know you a little bit more, you and your husband, with some fun, quirky questions. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Number one, would you rather have a vow renewal or relive your honeymoon?
Oh, gosh, both. Vow renewal.
Okay, all right.
I'm sorry, my honeymoon. Okay, that was hard. Honeymoon was good.
Oh.
Honeymoon.
I was going to say, it sounds like
our renewal would be the honeymoon, kind of. It would be the same, but the vow, we're going the same. Okay, sorry. It's supposed to be rapid. I'm sorry, go.
No, don't apologize. This whatever first thing comes to mind. I'm like, I think you're leaning towards honeymoon.
Honeymoon. Yeah.
Would you rather spend a day with hubby walking in the park? Because I know you've spent a lot of time walking in the park during the pandemic, or a few hours walking around Target.
Target. Three Targets. I got the location. Let's go. I know the good ones. And I know there's a new one that comes out on the 25th of September. Okay, we'll be there. Sorry.
Oh, you're going to have to send me that. 9/25. That's in a few days.
Yeah. It's their new fall line. So check it out.
Oh, okay. Yes, Target. Writing that down. Okay, yeah. Let me focus. I digress. PDA, here for it or no?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. You know, some people, bathroom boundaries or no?
Yes, boundaries. Yeah. Yeah.
I try, but that one, he just won't let me be great. What's harder, apologizing or admitting when you're wrong, or remaining quiet even when you know you're right?
Remaining quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're right. I just want to kind of put that, it wasn't, you kind of want to say, just to let it be known, just to clear it up. That's all.
I try to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm a work in progress. Okay. Since you're in radio and media, which decade of R&B music is your go-to?
80s.
Okay.
But the 80s, that's that little, yeah.
They got that. Okay,
Lori. And early 90s.
Okay, you better get into it.
All that,
Yes. I'm a straight 90s girl, but I live for the 80s too. I mean, 80s born, 80s baby, 90s raised me. It is what it is. I'm here for all of it. What's your personal favorite Black love movie? Here's a few you can choose from, or you may have your own.
Love Jones.
Sylvie's Love. Oh, what'd you say?
Love Jones.
Listen, you like, I don't need your list.
But read it though. Read your list. No.
Love Jones is like epic. Like,
I know about her.
That was on her. Sylvie's Love, Love Jones, Love and Basketball, The Best Man, Brown Sugar, Jumping the Broom.
All of them.
You said it. I feel like Love Jones started it. Like, in a sense,
hairstyle. She was so cute. Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Let me add. We actually watched Love Jones on our patio about 2 months ago. He set up he brought a TV outside and we had date night and watched Love Jones. I promise you, we had popcorn and everything. It was his idea too. So I have to brag. So yeah, Love Jones that's the movie.
Yes. Please brag on your husband. We love to see it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so romantic. Would you rather, since you're foodies, would you rather find a new recipe for you two to cook together, or would you rather find a new restaurant?
Restaurant. We're going out. We're gonna find a new restaurant. We're going.
Like, I don't feel like cooking tonight.
No.
Which of these is closest to your love language? Hubby cleaning the house, giving you a massage, buying you a gift, or hubby telling you how much he loves you?
He already cleans the I want a gift. I'll take a gift.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
Gifts. Give me the gift. Okay, last one. Which TV wife describes you the most? Claire Huxtable, the original Vivian from Fresh Prince, Rochelle from Everybody Hates Chris, or Rainbow from Blackish?
Claire Huxtable. She's gonna be classy, but she's gonna let you know when you're out of line, and yes, you know. I think
and
about
you a boss. She was a boss. You a boss.
And she'd come in, walk up her little brownstone with her little briefcase. Yeah.
Oh, yay! Thanks for playing. You did awesome, and I'm so
thank
glad
you.
To know you more. I just want to tell you, thank you so much for this tonight. This has been an incredible, one of the realest conversations. Like, I'm so thankful for all of my guests, but I just love when you all just open up and you're transparent and those no holds bars or anything. And so thank you for just sharing your story and for encouraging someone who is going through that wait and who is like in that season of waiting and really struggling to like see the light at the end of the tunnel, because you are a living testament to what God can do even after the wait. So thank you for sharing that. So before we wrap, everyone, y'all know what time it is. Grab your glasses, grab your drinks, whatever you're drinking on. Yes, you are prepared. I love it. And I want you to tell the people how they can follow you, whatever you want to share, promote. You can tell them how to find your book, whatever you want to share. Of course, we have a lot of women who are professionals. And then also, what are you toasting to tonight?
Okay, well, you can follow me at Lori I Flowers. I haven't posted anything in a while, but I will be posting soon. I post in the stories, and you can reach out if you need some encouragement about, being single, whatever, or if you need marriage talk, got that too. Not really promoting anything, but we do have Praise in the Park coming up October 2nd. If you're in Atlanta. And we're going to toast to the beautiful women on the call, yourself, Shonda, who are really just trying to be strong, be successful, be good wives, be good in their weight. We toast and we cheer them on, and we just I feel like I'm about to do a prayer, and we and we just encourage them to be whatever stage you are in your life, to embrace that stage. Don't rush it, but live in it. Cheers.
Cheers. Clink, 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 clink. Eye contact.
So yeah, live in wherever you are. Stop jumping, live in that stage, embrace it. The next stage is coming, but be patient. So
I love that. I don't even have anything else to toast to, because that just sums it up best. It's like, no matter where you are in your life, just embrace that, and just like really just embrace that. Like you said, oh, I love that. Yes. To all of y'all who joined tonight, I appreciate y'all. If this is your first time, you're like, oh my gosh, I love this. I want to do this again. We'll do it again. You can find us on Wednesdays. And if you're like, oh my gosh, Lori was preaching and I just want to take my notes again, I took my notes. I don't know about y'all. But you can catch the replay, which will be available on my IGTV as well as YouTube, because Wise One Down is on YouTube now. Woohoo! Just might show up a little later than the IGTV, but that's okay. Y'all know I got y'all. But tell a friend, share, because this is some good stuff. Again, the Wise One Down family is not just for those who are married, but it's for all of us as women, those who aspire to be married, because I understand that that's not the reality for some women, and that's totally fine. It's your choice. Totally. And it's just for, whether you've been married 6 months, 60 months, 6 years, it doesn't matter. This is the safe space for us to keep it real. So if you enjoyed it, tell a friend, share about it, and you can catch the replays. For my day ones, I appreciate y'all so much. For those who are new tonight, thank you for dropping in. You are officially, and Lori, you are officially a part of the Wives Wind Down family.
I love it. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Any lasting words before we say goodnight?
No, thank you for having me, and thank you for building this platform. I think it's definitely needed, and you keep doing everything you're doing, because you're doing some amazing things, and you're changing lives, and your encouragement, and it just you don't even know. So people are seeing this, and just keep going, keep doing everything you're supposed to do. That's all.
I appreciate that, and I receive it wholeheartedly. I send nothing but blessings and positive vibes to your husband. Thank goodness we're not sister wives, but we do have great husbands and men.
Yes.
Because I was like, no, wait a minute, Lord, that sounds familiar.
That's familiar. That sounds like, yeah, that sounds familiar.
So I love it. I appreciate you. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next time for another episode of Wives Wind Down.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good week. Have a good night.
Bye.